GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening, Chicago. Tonight we'll examine the tragic rescue from Lake Michigan, a shooting on the near West Side, and the FDA's approval of a new pancreatic cancer drug. Later, we'll hear about a historic celebration at the original Rainbow Cone and tomorrow's traffic outlook. Over to you, Miles.
Our quick note, the GMNA gift shop just opened, running on Quickie.com, and it's tiny, so tiny you can hold the entire inventory in one hand.
I walked in, saw just 2 mugs on the shelf, thought they were samples. Turns out that's the whole selection. Available now at shop.gmna.ca.
Don't worry, they're brewing new designs soon, so when you finish the 2 mugs, you'll have fresh options without needing a larger storefront to store them.
Even a micro shop can spark conversation, and we've got plenty more to discuss. So thank you for the chuckle, lots to get to, let's begin. Here are our top stories. A 22-year-old man rescued by Chicago police from Lake Michigan on the north side was pronounced dead at the scene. Imani Whitfield has the full story.
Police officers arrived on the north side shoreline after a call reported a man struggling in the water. Witnesses said the young adult, 22 years old, was seen treading frantically near the lake's edge before officers launched a rescue boat. Officers pulled him aboard, providing immediate medical attention, but despite their efforts, he was pronounced dead at the scene. The Chicago Police Department confirmed the fatality and is investigating the circumstances surrounding the incident. No further details about the cause of the distress have been released, and the lake remains closed to swimmers in the immediate area while authorities conduct their inquiry. The department will release an update as more information becomes available. Imani Whitfield, GMNA News, North Side.
3 men were injured in a shooting on Chicago's near West Side Tuesday night, August 25. The Chicago Police Department responded to reports of gunfire shortly after 10 p.m., secured the area and found the victims with non-fatal injuries. Detectives and forensic teams were dispatched to collect evidence and interview witnesses. Officers established a command post at the scene to coordinate response efforts. The 3 men were transported to a local hospital, where they are receiving treatment and are expected to recover. No arrests have been made and police have not released a motive or suspect description. The case is being investigated as an assault with a firearm, and detectives are pursuing leads. The department is reviewing surveillance footage and canvassing the neighborhood for additional information. The investigation remains ongoing, and authorities have urged anyone with relevant information to contact the police department.
Later today, the Food and Drug Administration will greenlight Revolution Medicine's new pancreatic cancer therapy, Rasunc, known scientifically as daraxonrasib. The approval follows a late-stage trial that enrolled 500 patients across 2 Chicago hospitals, all of whom had already exhausted standard treatments. Officials say the drug is intended for adults with advanced pancreatic cancer who have previously received therapy, offering a fresh option where few exist. Revolution Medicines anticipates the medication will be available through the hospitals within weeks, pending insurance and distribution steps. The agency highlighted the trial's safety profile and modest survival benefit as key factors in its decision. If the approval proceeds as planned, physicians in the city will have a new tool to address a disease that remains one of the nation's deadliest cancers. Chicago's oncology community will watch closely as the drug moves toward broader use.
Moses the Black, the 50-cent-backed crime drama starring Omar Epps, will screen Saturday and Sunday at a Southside Community Center after being pulled from nearly 300 theaters earlier this year. Grady Sokolowski has the full story.
Tonight the crime drama, Moses the Black, rolls onto the screen of a Southside Community Center, a second chance after the film vanished from nearly 300 theater venues earlier this year. Backed by rapper-turned-producer 50 Cent and starring Omar Epps, the movie was pulled from distribution in the last weekend of January, prompting organizers to arrange a free showing for local residents this weekend, August 27 and 28. The film, shot on Chicago's West Side, follows a gritty storyline that resonated with the community, and the producers hope the pop-up screening will bring the story back to its home audience. Families gathered in the modest hall, eyes fixed on the screen as the weekend screening began. Grady Sokolowski, GMNA News, South Side.
The Chicago Ethics Board has gone a full year without a permanent chief, and now its executive director is stepping down just as the city's municipal election cycle kicks into gear. The vacancy leaves the board, which oversees conduct of city officials, without its top administrator at a time when campaign finance and ethics questions are expected to rise. City officials say the board will continue its oversight duties, but the lack of a permanent leader may slow investigations and delay rulings on potential conflicts of interest. The departing director, who has served since the board's formation, announced the retirement last month and no interim replacement has been named. As candidates file for aldermanic and mayoral races, watchdog groups are watching closely to see how the board manages its workload without steady leadership. Later we'll check on an American Airlines jet that lost 2 tires while taxiing at O'Hare, plus more headlines. We will be right back. Thinking about selling online, most people give up long before they ever get a store open. Quickie.com changes that. Pick a template, add your products, and you are open for business. $10 a month, that is the whole price, no setup fees and no cut of your sales. And there is the 10 on 10 guarantee. If you are not live in 10 minutes, your first month is on us. Mugs, apparel, crafts, coffee, if you can photograph it, you can sell it. Visit quickie.com and open your store today. 10 minutes from now, you could be in business. I'm Tessa from GMNA Studios.
Welcome back. An American Airlines jet experienced a tire failure this morning as it taxied for departure at O'Hare International Airport, one of the nation's busiest hubs. Federal Aviation Administration officials said the aircraft lost 2 main landing gear tires shortly before the scheduled takeoff. The crew brought the plane to a stop without further incident, and no passengers or crew were injured. Airport emergency responders inspected the aircraft and cleared the runway for other traffic after confirming the damage was confined to the tires. The FAA released a brief statement confirming the loss of the tires and noting that the aircraft remained under control. FAA investigators will interview the flight crew and review maintenance records as part of the inquiry. The airline said all passengers were safely deplaned and will be rebooked on later flights.
Federal immigration judge in Chicago has ordered the removal of 6 children while their green card applications remain pending. The order proceeds despite pending status. Delia Vasquez has the full story.
A federal immigration judge handed down orders today that 6 children will be removed from the United States, even as their green card petitions remain unresolved. The ruling came from the U.S. District Court in downtown Chicago, where the judge cited pending status of the applications as grounds for proceeding with removal. Prosecutors said the children, all minors, will be placed in custody pending deportation to their country of origin. Immigration lawyers for the families argued the pending cases merit a stay, but the court moved forward under existing statutes that allow removal before a final decision. The families now face an uncertain future as they await further legal action. Delia Vasquez, GMNA News, Chicago.
Mayor Brandon Johnson stood before reporters this afternoon to defend his administration's handling of the recent teen organized takeovers that have swept several neighborhoods. He said the city's coordinated response, deploying community liaison teams, increasing patrols, and launching a targeted outreach program on the platforms where the gatherings are arranged, has already reduced disruptions. Johnson added that the strategy respects both public safety and the young people's right to assemble, while stressing that any escalation will be met with swift action. Meanwhile, Chicago City Council members are reviewing proposals for additional measures, including stricter curfew enforcement and expanded after-school activity funding. The takeovers, organized through social media and focused on specific blocks, have drawn intense media scrutiny and criticism of city officials. Council deliberations are expected to continue through the week, as officials grapple with balancing order and community engagement.
Researchers at the Great Cities Institute released a study today showing Chicago's tax increment financing program has lifted the downtown core while leaving lower-income neighborhoods largely untouched. The analysis found that the city's downtown TIF districts have already met their development targets, generating new office space, retail, and higher property values. In contrast, districts in historically poorer wards have seen little new construction or job growth. The Institute recommends a series of reforms, including phasing out downtown districts that have achieved their goals and redirecting subsidies toward areas that have not yet benefited. The authors suggest recalibrating the program so that tax increment revenues support equitable development across the city's 77 community areas. The study adds to ongoing debates about how best to use public subsidies to spur growth without widening economic gaps.
Cook County's ongoing program has eliminated over $1 billion in medical debt for more than 791,000 residents since 2022. Delia Vasquez has the full story.
Since its launch in 2022, Cook County's medical debt relief program has cleared more than $1 billion in unpaid health bills for local residents. Over the 4-year span, the effort has erased debt for roughly 791,000 people, removing balances that ranged from a few $100s to several thousand. County officials say the initiative combines direct forgiveness with partnerships that negotiate reduced settlements, aiming to lift financial pressure from families across the region. The program's progress is tracked through a public dashboard, showing each month's total cleared amount and the number of households helped. By the end of the current cycle in 2026, the county expects to have fully addressed the remaining balances. Delia Vasquez, GMNA News, Chicago.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what tonight's skies have in store.
A westward jet and rising pressure are squeezing moisture out of the basin, leaving Chicago dry tonight. On this date, the all-time high reached 92 degrees back in 2021, a brief spike during an early season heat wave that pushed the city into the upper 30s Celsius for a day. The record low of 49 degrees fell in 2017, when an Arctic blast slipped southward and snapped the usual summer warmth. By contrast, the climatological average high sits around 83 degrees and the average low near 66, so today's temperatures sit comfortably between those long-term norms. The live radar paints a thin band of showers hugging the lake shore, sliding eastward under the westward jet. At 6 p.m., the core sits just north of the city, moving inland at roughly 15 miles per hour. By 7 p.m., the rain will have cleared the downtown core, leaving a mostly clear sky as high pressure builds. With the jet keeping moisture aloft, we shift from radar to tonight's outlook. At 6 p.m., Chicago sits at 81 degrees with partly cloudy skies and a light west wind gusting to 10 miles per hour. Pressure is near average and slowly rising, signaling a pocket of drier, more stable air moving in behind the departing mid-level trough. The westward jet at 39 miles per hour streams aloft, steering any lingering moisture away and reinforcing the dry layer. With humidity in the mid-50s and dew point around 64, overnight lows will dip to 64 as radiational cooling proceeds under clear skies. The UV index reads 5, and wind remains below 16 miles per hour, so no gust concerns. No active alerts are in effect. With the night set to clear, we now look ahead to the 5-day outlook. Looking at the next 5 days, the pattern stays under the same weak ridge, keeping temperatures modest and skies mostly clear. Thursday offers a clear sky, high 75 and low 64, perfect for radiational cooling. Friday remains dry with a high of 77 and low of 66 under light west-southwest flow. Saturday clouds thicken, high 81, low 68, and a 20% rain chance as a weak frontal wave brushes the lake shore. Sunday stays overcast, high 86 and low 72, the warmest day of the stretch. Monday ends the period with overcast conditions, high 84, low 75, and a 40% rain probability as the jet dips south, inviting deeper moisture. No severe alerts. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll bring traffic, celebrate the original Rainbow Cone's 100-year milestone, and preview Blackhawks and White Sox action tonight. We will be right back. Thinking about selling online, most people give up long before they ever get a store open. Quick.com changes that. Pick a template, add your products, and you are open for business. $10 a month, that is the whole price, no setup fees, and no cut of your sales. And there is the 10 on 10 guarantee. If you are not live in 10 minutes, your first month is on us. Mugs, apparel, crafts, coffee, if you can photograph it, you can sell it. Visit quickecom.com and open your store today. 10 minutes from now, you could be in business. I'm Tessa from GMNA Studios.
All the major routes are running clear this evening. Lakeshore Drive from the Loop to the north side is flowing without slowdown, and the Dan Ryan and Kennedy expressways are reporting free flow speeds. I-90-94 between the Loop and the western suburbs shows no congestion, and the Eisenhower is moving at a steady pace past the south side. On the surface streets, Western Avenue and Ashland are also free of backups, and the 95th Street corridor on I-55 is clear for now. With the rush hour still winding down, expect traffic to pick up again after 8 o'clock as commuters head home from the south and west sides. Keep an eye on the Lakefront Trail and the north-south bike routes. Higher pedestrian volume tends to slow cyclists around that time. No transit delays are reported and the L lines are operating on schedule. Anticipate normal evening flow, but allow a few extra minutes if you're traveling on the far south side after 8 o'clock.
The calendar is quiet today, but here's what's on the horizon. First, the Chicago Air and Water Show returns this weekend along the lakefront, delivering high-octane aerial stunts and fireworks that turn the skyline into a playground for families and thrill-seekers alike. Next, Hysterical Fest. Women Plus Act Out kicks off Thursday through Saturday at the Piven Theater Workshop and the Noise Cultural Arts Center in Evanston, showcasing bold new voices that push comedy and drama into fresh territory. In Grant Park, the final installment of Chicago Summer Dance is in full swing, offering free open-air dancing that invites anyone to move under the summer sky. And for a quirky twist, the Chicago Bald Off competition is happening now, crowning the city's baldest baddie and baddest baldie, a light-hearted contest that adds a dash of humor to the neighborhood buzz. Stay tuned as the city's cultural pulse picks up later this week. And now here's Theo with sports.
Chicago's summer heat fuels a weekend of high-stakes baseball, hockey prospects, and bullpen debates. Second City Hockey's latest top 25 under 25 slots defenseman Samuel Lalaurie at 25, the Chicago Blackhawks, third-round pick from last year. The 18-year-old logged 30 points in 50 finished junior games and a playoff assist, showcasing size and playmaking that could push him into the organization's future blue line rotation. Tristan Peters belted his 11th homer, leaving him a triple from the cycle, as the Chicago White Sox rallied past the Texas Rangers in an 11-7 slugfest. The win snaps a blowout loss, keeps the Sox within 2.5 games of the wild card, and forces the Rangers to regroup after Jacob deGrom's outing. The Cubs added veteran catcher Austin Wynns after his Rangers designation, slotting him into Triple-A Iowa to compete for the backup role. Simultaneously, Iowa's pitching staff sees Tyler Santana promoted, while Ethan Hearn and Ed Howard shift within the organization, signaling a reshuffle that could tighten depth ahead of September call-ups. Caleb Boehmer's 34th blast lifted the Charlotte Knights to an 8-2 victory, while Drew Thorpe's 7th start delivered 4 2/3 innings, 2 runs and 3 strikeouts, offering a glimpse of rotation depth. Kyle Teal's rehab debut, a hit and walk in 4 at-bats, adds another option for the big league club. Cubs fans are being asked to weigh in on the next bullpen arm, as the club's late-inning options remain thin. With veteran relievers aging and recent injuries mounting, the front office's upcoming free agency moves could reshape the late-game roster, making the fan poll a timely gauge of public sentiment. The Cubs opened their series against the Arizona Diamondbacks on Tuesday night, a matchup that could tighten the National League Central race. Chicago will look to leverage home field advantage and its revamped rotation, while Arizona aims to climb out of the lower tier with a strong bullpen. Stay tuned as Chicago's clubs chase playoff spots and future stars.
Thanks, Theo. The original Rainbow Cone, tucked into Beverly's historic commercial corridor, celebrates a remarkable 100 years of serving Chicago's sweetest tradition. This century-old ice cream shop, famous for its stacked 5-flavor cone, marked the milestone with a street-side celebration that drew longtime fans, families, and the city's council members. Visitors sampled limited-edition flavors, heard stories from the founding family, and enjoyed live jazz that echoed the neighborhood's cultural roots. The event underscores how a single scoop can anchor a block, drawing foot traffic that sustains nearby cafes, boutiques, and the local school's fundraiser. It's the kind of place that turns a simple scoop into a memory of the South Side, reminding us that Chicago's flavor is built one neighborhood at a time. Stay tuned for Meta's $17 billion settlement and the Illinois Supreme Court CPD discipline case. We'll be right back. Thinking about selling online, most people give up long before they ever get a store open. Quickie.com changes that. Pick a template, add your products, and you are open for business. $10 a month, that is the whole price, no setup fees, and no cut of your sales. And there is the 10 on 10 guarantee. If you are not live in 10 minutes, your first month is on us. Mugs, apparel, crafts, coffee, if you can photograph it, you can sell it. Visit quickie.com and open your store today. 10 minutes from now, you could be in business. I'm Tessa from gmna Studios.
Welcome back. Meta has agreed to a settlement worth $17 billion with 29 states, including Illinois and Indiana, over allegations its platforms exploit minors. Imani Whitfield has the full story.
Meta has reached a settlement worth $17 billion with a coalition of 29 states, including Illinois and Indiana, over allegations that its platforms were engineered to lure young users. The agreement, still awaiting court approval, aims to resolve claims that Facebook and Instagram were designed to exploit minors for profit. State attorneys say the deal will fund new protections and oversight for underage audiences, though the exact distribution of funds remains under negotiation. Critics note the settlement stops short of admitting wrongdoing, but officials hope it will deter similar practices across the industry. The announcement came today as families gathered outside the state capitol, watching the news unfold. Imani Whitfield, GMNA News, Chicago.
Illinois Supreme Court will hear arguments on September 24, 2026, about whether serious Chicago Police Department discipline hearings must be held publicly, a case that could shape police transparency. Imani Whitfield has the full story.
The Illinois Supreme Court is set to consider a case that could reshape how the Chicago Police Department conducts its most serious internal discipline hearings. Lawyers for the city and the police union will argue before the justices in Springfield on the 24th of September 2026, asking whether those hearings must be open to the public. The dispute centers on whether the department's current practice of holding closed sessions violates state law that guarantees public access to governmental proceedings. If the court rules in favor of openness, every future hearing involving substantial officer misconduct could be streamed or reported live, changing the way the department handles accountability. Imani Whitfield, GMNA News, Springfield.
Thank you, Chicago, for joining us tonight. I hope the story about the city clearing $1 billion in medical debt for 791,000 locals resonated. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the news that matters to you. Stay safe and good night.